Epilogue. 24 March 2015. For the first time in decades, I was free of the past, free of the screams, free of the room that bound me. I gasped and dropped my head to my hands. The elation, the pressure, the relief flooded through me, and I permitted myself this moment to breathe. I smiled as I cried. It was done. I gazed at the 96,000-word manuscript and punched in the words, "The End." I hit save and sat back in the chair for a moment and took up the warm Guinness sitting beside me. After chugging the last of the beer, I returned my hands to the keys. "Control, home," I said as I entered the command into my keyboard. Under the word "broken," I typed, "by William D. Shaw," then sat back in my chair and relished the accomplishment just as the familiar plink of an email notification came through. Heat filled my chest. I grinned wide and felt the haze invade my mind. I clicked on the message and slipped back into Ireland, where I lay, smiling in Raven's arms. Together we watched the fire from the piles of blankets, clothes, and pillows scattered about on the cottage floor. I felt him kiss the top of my head, and I tightened my hold on him. "You know none of this is real, right?" he whispered. "It's just a fantasy." I buried my face in his chest, and I felt him breathe beneath me. "I know that," I said. "But if I can't have you, then I'll settle for Ireland. Besides, I've had a bad day today, and I need this." I wanted to cry. "Cry?" I heard the worry in his voice. No, don't cry." He took my face in his hands and brushed my tears away. He kissed my bottom lip softly. "What's wrong, dear?" "Such a bad week," I said. I wanted to tell him about the intervention, about the book, about everything. "I'm sorry, lass," he said. "Lay your sweet head on my chest." And I obeyed. A lot had been said that week. There was a lot he needed to know. There was too much he needed to know if this was to go any further. I couldn't have him coming to me thinking I could be a wife, thinking I could be okay as just a wife. He needed to know what I was. He needed to know what I am. "There's a lot you need to know," I began. He ran his fingers through my hair. "I'm broken," I said. "I'm afraid of relationships, fucking terrified of relationships. I can't be married. I can't have anyone close to me. That's how I live. I'm comfortable around war, with my swords and my war paint, and alone. Always alone. It's like I live on an island with my war, and I'm alone, and I love it." His breathing had slowed as if all of his attention went into listening to me. I felt fear and angst from him. "But you," I looked into his eyes. "You walked in and sat down beside me, and it feels so right. I can't live without you. I love what we have, where we are, and if ever there is a chance for more, I would take it in a moment's breath. I love this. Whatever it is, I love it. I need it so much in my life. I need you. I need exactly what we are, like this." "So you just want a friendship from me?" he asked. I felt the worry like he was losing me. "Do you not like me any more than just that?" I hadn't been clear. "Oh, no, I said, and sat up. "So all you really want from me is sex?" he asked. I saw the fear in his eyes. Fear. I understood. I smiled with relief. I knew at last the words to say. "Absolutely not," I said. "I would want you to teach me. I would want you to teach me how to be intimate and how to let you in. I would show you all my cards, everything that I am, and I would say, please teach me to be gentle and sensual and romantic. Please teach me how to accept love, because I don't know how." I felt him relax again under me, and I moved my mouth over his, then pulled my fur-hide blanket over us. He needed to hold on to me as much as I to him. We needed each other. I wasn't sure why. As we lay by the fire, I ran my fingers through his hair until he slept holding me, and still I lay listening to him breathe. I had spoken to my group of friends, but it still left me without answers. Pat's book was finished, and my services on that project were no longer needed. Jacob and I had found a comfortable balance with our friendship, but the conversations, the reflections, the questions raised, there was simply too much still left unanswered. "This isn't real," I heard him say, and I lifted my head off his chest. "What?" I asked. He was awake and watching me with such sadness in his eyes. "None of this," he said, indicating the room. "It isn't real. Not I, not this, not any of it." I furrowed my brow. Had the last 2 months really meant nothing to him? "Why would you say this to me?" I asked. "Because it's true," he said. "You needed to hear it." The room was getting dark. It was harder to see him. Ireland was slipping and I was falling. I It's time to wake up from the lies, Elizabeth. I sat staring at my computer. The sun in New York was shining. The window was open and a cold spring breeze blew in. I looked at the room around me. The air around me was real. I could smell the spring air. I could feel the chill. I could see the yellow paint on my bedroom walls. It was all surreal, and I felt like I was standing in a Dali painting. I saved Broken, then opened a new window on my computer and did the only thing I knew what to do. I wrote. Pleasuring you has always been the greatest pleasure, even when it brought me pain. Regardless of whether I meant something to you or not, that doesn't matter. You meant the world to me right up to the end, even when you found a way to wake me from the lies. And for that you will always be my dearest friend, my sweetest love, regardless of whether or not you are real. I stood from my office chair and absorbed the numbness. The children were outside playing. Their laughter sounded so strange, as if the worlds in my head were more real to me than this one, as if I had forgotten how to use my senses. I smelled the spices and beef from the stew cooking downstairs in the kitchen. I had no doubt Hosea would have dinner ready soon. A trip to the kitchen was in order. I needed another Guinness anyway. Did I really need a Guinness? Was I really that dependent on alcohol? When did that happen? I slowly walked down the stairs, bracing myself on the walls as if I didn't trust my own feet to keep me upright. Downstairs, I scanned the living room as if seeing it for the first time. I couldn't assess the level of danger, but my guard was up, and I desired my swords. I eyed Abigail resting against the living room wall and turned the corner into the kitchen as I replayed the question Hosea had asked me 20 days ago on the 7th of March. I'm moving to Ireland, I had said. Are you sure this is what you want? He had asked. Will this make you happy? 13 days had passed since I had sat down with the children to eat that day. I set to work on Broken that night. I had done little else since then. I had eaten almost nothing. I looked like a skeleton dripping with skin. My face was sallow and sunken in. A streak of silver now framed my face. How long was I gone? Had I really changed that much? I found Hosea beside the kitchen sink. It's done, I said. Hosea studied my face. Already I could feel my sanity slipping with my nerves. The emotions were heavy. There were too many. Your memoir? He asked. I nodded. Yes. He tossed the dishcloth into the sink. He was angry. I wanted to kill him, to attack and run. And? He asked. Have you made your decision? Yes, I said. Already I felt my mind slipping back to the worlds I now knew weren't real. I shifted my eyes around the kitchen. It felt foreign, dangerous. I couldn't determine one world from the next. It was so hard to stay in this realm. It hurt to stand there, to feel. It hurt to use my senses. The emotions were raw. I could feel them moving in. They would be here soon, and so much more than I ever could handle on my own. I needed help. I looked at Hosea and found his eyes through my madness. I think it's time I see a doctor.